On October 1st, the federal government shut down as Congress failed to pass a funding bill to extend their services through funding. All non-essential services have been suspended, and several 100,000 federal employees and active duty service members will work without pay. This will likely most impact airlines and air traffic controllers, which was a problem earlier in the year, especially at high traffic areas, largely where we live, New York, DC, Atlanta in particular. The debate about the shutdown hinges upon a healthcare debate. Democrats are withholding their vote in an effort to extend subsidies that are related to the Affordable Care Act, which are set to expire at the end of the year. Democrats are refusing to vote for a short-term funding bill that does not include an extension of the tax credits, along with repeals to cuts from healthcare programs that they put in place as a part of the One Big Beautiful Bill. In August, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities projected that the One Big Beautiful Bill will cause roughly 15 million people to lose their health insurance by the year 2034. And the Kaiser Family Foundation found that if ACA tax credits were not extended, that the average premium for those folks would nearly double. Now, that all goes to say the $1 million question: does any of this even matter in the grand scheme of things? Do you think that this is something that people will actually lock in on? Because I have my doubts. But Henry, let's start with you since you seem puzzled.
Like the will it matter? That's like a like the last time Trump shut the government down cost the American people $11 million. So that's real time if effect. And then I seen he's hasn't agreed to back pay the essential or government workers that are still working. So now you're playing with people's livelihood in real time. So those people definitely will feel it, and I hope they will remember it. And then I seen Newsom speak about how there's a lot of delayed flights in California because
Mhm,
of like the lack of, you know, personnel.
mhm,
So for me, I definitely think people are gonna feel it. I do think we're like the media and social media and how you're receiving this information in the real time effects. I think that's what's being like propagated in a way to where the normal person who isn't as informed or tapped in or maybe knows someone that's directly affected, then they maybe brush it off because unfortunately that's how we like remember things, is how did this thing or incident affect me.
McKinley, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, like I definitely agree with Henry because I just feel like my question is I'm not sure how long he will let this last. Like, I don't feel like he even respects the government enough to even try to make sure that they even get back to some type of resolution to get these people employed, especially if he already said that he's not going to do back pay. So I just feel so terrible for people who are really just caught up in this because, just like federal jobs used to be something that like was so dependable. And this is really
Mhm.
changing the trajectory of like that entire thought process of like even getting a federal job, do the right thing, do your job, go to work after 5 years. Like it's a great
Mhm.
track for a lot of people to get from point A to point B. So I just like feel like what is that gonna look like in the next 3 years for this man in office? Like, this is crazy. And how long is this going to last? Because I really do feel, I worry that this is going to go longer than at least the last time. And the last time was what, like 30 days or 30 something days?
Yeah, the longest shutdown we had, I think, was in 2018. That was 35 days. So
Yeah.
essentially, that would be federal government workers missing a month's pay,
hmm While
which,
your boss is telling you, I also am not going to give you back pay either. Like, that's also.
Imagine missing a month's pay.
hmm
Let's just start there.
I
Talk
hmm
mean,
about will it matter or does it matter?
and I think that, and I think that, and I think the interesting thing is that I think if you I think you both, I think, have done a better job in terms of explaining the why this matters. And I think that always gets back to what we always talk about in terms of like how people are actively talking about this. I think people are naturally like focusing on healthcare, which I do think is like a very important thing because if the government just continues on, like healthcare will be more expensive and that will cause like a lot of destruction. I'd like to think that to your all's point, like, hey, you all are just messing with people's bread. And even if you're not actually seeing how these people are impacting you, you're still impacting people's dollars. But do you think that's an effective message? I don't know. I really don't.
To Mackenzie's point, they don't care. Trump administration doesn't care. Like the Republicans really don't care. They voted 5 times. They could have to avoid keeping the government or getting the government back up. So I like the first day the government shutdown happened. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's time to get rid of the Democrats. We're putting Project 2025 full stop." Now he's talking about like 9/11 and stuff. So like it's very this it's not confusing at all. It's frustrating more than anything because you
What
do
makes it frustrating?
well, yeah, like you do see Trump appointed judges trying to push back. We seen like today the Chicago mayor or
Mhm.
governor, it was one of them. They signed,
Both.
it was both.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know they're suing him for trying to
Mhm.
deploy ICE, and then they basically put out I don't know the proper term, but some type of a legislative statement that said, "Hey, if you cannot be in proper Chicago city." So, like for me, and then you have Newsom, and then Jasmine Crockett, and you have so many other people and judges, or like Lisa Cook, the lady he tried to
Mhm.
fire. Like it's so many different intricacies that are pushing back. But again, I think the one media is showing it in two extreme different ways. Like, and that's what's frustrating. And then also it's frustrating
Wait,
that
what are the two different ways?
like Trump this extremist and this is probably because I my algorithm because of the things I like and interact with, I see this stuff, right? So that could be a very big, not even could, that's likely a big part of it. But then also when you do see like certain media outlets or like right now they're running certain commercials in Georgia that are kind of message like he's this golden child that's saving everything and he's helping everybody. And it's like, I don't get it because we all are in every single way. That's why I don't understand the Republican Party at large. They're being affected inadvertently. Their constituents are definitely directly being affected. And to Kamala's point, where we'll get to this later, like these big corporations that are just folding, like I don't get that either. And that's what I was about to say. Democrats at large and corporations, whoever their backers or whatever, I feel like it should have just been a better plan in place if we ever were to, you know what I'm saying? We dealt with Trump already. We should have known within the first 30 days we need to he got to get up out of there. So we should have had things in place. And that where Crockett said a couple weeks ago, my biggest problem with the Biden administration is not locking him up. That man, the attorney general, that what's his name, Noah?
Who, Biden?
No, what was
You
I
talking
can't
about
think.
Merrick Garland?
No, maybe that's his name. But basically he didn't certify their findings. He didn't
No, no, joke. Yeah, that was
you
Merrick
know what I'm
Garland.
talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I do.
So it's stuff like that to where direct people was just like, whatever. Trump ain't gonna do, you know what I'm saying? That's what's frustrating.
And Mackenzie, one thing I want to ask you, one, I think just I'll ask you a two-part question from like a media standpoint. I think it's been interesting to see how they've been covering this because I think Republicans have like kind of said the lie of like, oh, they're fighting to like make sure that undocumented people have healthcare, which they don't. But the media only has so much time to like kind of tell them that they're lying. And it seems as if that's like an uncomfortable thing for media to do, to just be like, that's just actually not like you're lying to my face and you know you are, and you know you are. But also, can you give me your thoughts on that? But also, do you think that from like a media narrative, like is healthcare the reason to shut the government down as opposed to what Henry was saying in terms of like ICE and federal troops are just going anywhere. Like to me, that seems to be like a more like easy thing for people to understand. But I don't know, like, is this the issue to basically be like, this is what we're gonna plant the flag on?
I get what you mean. Okay, so I understand why what you mean if like why if this is gonna matter. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to your point, I do think the other option with ICE being deployed and stuff is obviously I feel like just more so eye-catching because like all you think
Mm-hmm.
about is somebody being kidnapped and taken off the streets and literally never seen again.
By masked men.
Yeah, like by men just on foot, and it's like very scary. Um, Healthcare is different, but it's like it's one of those things that it's like it's not going to impact you until it impacts you. And the thing
Mhm.
that my issue is with it when it comes to the media, I feel like they just just headlines and stuff. And I feel like I always critique it on Instagram because things read in a way and it read in a way as if you're not calling out the actual problem. Like the actual problem isn't just the government shutdown, it's this person in power also not prioritizing healthcare and also doesn't care about the well-being of a certain demographic. But then we're just going to say, well, it's because the Democrats and Republicans can't get along. But it's just
Yeah,
so
like
much
two sides
deeper than
disagree. Yeah, it's like it's
yeah,
not that.
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
and it's positioned in a way of like playing devil's advocate instead of like calling things out. Like another thing, especially when it comes to healthcare and money, there was a story from the New York Times actually, and it was like saying that people were living in poverty in New York City because of the lack of financial or not financial, a COVID aid. And I'm like, how is it COVID had happened at this point almost 5 years ago? There's no way that that check even matters anymore. Now it's about inflation, it's about politics, it's about so many other things, but we don't want to call it that. We want to call it something else. And we're just trying to redirect the conversation to be mad at something else. Because, like, the government shutdown, 30 days is a long time. But that's why I'm like, if you think about it the way that they position it, they'll position it like, oh, 30 days. Yes, this is a big deal. But 30 days is a month. But that is a long time. Because 40 days, 50 days, 60 days, this could go to 3 months, 6 months, and then also people don't have jobs. So, yeah, I know I started rambling, but I feel like
no, I just think it's interesting to your point. We can move on, but I think it's always like I think we have noticed that more, and we talked about I think the media's role, and I think just being neutral just for neutral sake of like, oh, this is a disagreement, even though one side is not telling the truth. Like this is a disagreement because there's a lie involved, and I
Mhm.
think there's a difference between, to your point, like Democrats and Republicans disagree, and but it's like yes, that is correct. They are disagreeing because someone is saying something that is just not true. It's like you kind of have to include
But
that.
to that point of people saying stuff that's just not true, I think that's what's also frustrating about the White House and their like who holds them accountable